Fake HOA Find My Sister's Make-A-Wish event community response was immediate. Have you ever seen someone try to ruin a child's dream just to flex their power? That's exactly what happened in our quiet Maplewood neighborhood, where a self-appointed HOA president named Karen turned a joyful Make-A-Wish event for my little sister, Lily, into a battleground. What she didn't expect was the community's fierce, immediate responsive rebellion that exposed her lies and left her scrambling to save face. It all started with Lily, my 9-year-old sister, who's been fighting leukemia for 2 years. Her wish was simple: a backyard carnival with her friends, complete with a bounce house, cotton candy, and a clown to make her laugh. The Make-A-Wish Foundation worked tirelessly to make it happen, and our family transformed our yard into a wonderland. Balloons bobbed in the breeze, kids squealed as they tossed rings onto bottles, and Lily's smile lit up brighter than the summer sun. Neighbors donated food, decorations, even their time to set up. It was the kind of day that reminded you what community means. But Karen had other plans. Karen, a middle-aged woman with a clipboard and a permanent scowl, had recently declared herself president of a so-called Maplewood HOA. Nobody remembered voting for her, and half the neighborhood didn't even know an HOA existed. She'd been roaming the streets, issuing fines for minor infractions: untidy lawns, unapproved mailboxes, even kids' chalk drawings on sidewalks. Most of us ignored her, thinking she was just a busybody with too much time. But that Saturday, as Lily's carnival was in full swing, Karen stormed into our yard like a general marching to war, waving a stack of papers she claimed were official HOA violation notices. "You're in breach of community standards," she barked, her voice cutting through the music. She pointed at the bounce house, the string lights, the charity banner strung across our fence. "Unauthorized structures, excessive noise, and unpermitted signage. You owe $2,500 in fines. Due immediately." The crowd froze. Lily, in her wheelchair, clutched her balloon, her eyes wide with fear. I felt my blood boil. This was no HOA rulebook. This was Karen's personal vendetta, and she'd chosen the worst possible moment to unleash it. The truth unraveled faster than Karen expected. My mom, a lawyer who dealt with her share of bullies, stepped forward. "Show me the HOA charter," she demanded. Karen's face twitched, but she produced a flimsy document, barely 3 pages long, typed in Comic Sans and riddled with typos. It was a fake, cobbled together to give her authority. Mom read it aloud, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "No temporary structures over 6 feet, no gatherings exceeding 10 people without board approval." The neighbors gasped, then laughed. Nobody had seen this document before, let alone agreed to it. Karen's HOA was a sham, a power grab she'd invented to control the neighborhood. But the real twist came from an unexpected source. Mr. Jenkins, the quiet retiree who lived across the street. He shuffled forward, holding up his phone. "I've got something to say," he said, his voice trembling but firm. Turns out Mr. Jenkins had been digging. He'd found Karen's social media, where she'd bragged about teaching Maplewood a lesson and posted photos of her fining neighbors, including a screenshot of her fake HOA letterhead. Even worse, she'd been pocketing the fines, depositing them into a personal account she called her Neighborhood Improvement Fund. The crowd erupted in boos. Karen's face turned as red as the paint she'd later used to deface our banner. The confrontation escalated under the fading sunlight. Neighbors closed ranks around Lily, forming a human shield as Karen doubled down, screaming about order and standards. She tore the Make-A-Wish banner from our fence, ripping it in half and scrawling "violation" across it in red paint she'd brought in her bag like she'd planned this all along. "You're ruining our community," she shrieked. But the tide had turned. A teenage neighbor, Mia, started live streaming the scene on her phone, narrating Karen's meltdown to hundreds of viewers online. "This lady's trying to find a kid with cancer," Mia said, her voice cracking with anger. Comments flooded in. "Shame on her. Protect Lily." The video spread like wildfire, and by nightfall, local news vans were parked outside. Karen's downfall was swift and brutal. The live stream caught the attention of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, who issued a statement condemning her actions. Reporters dug into her past, uncovering a history of petty scams, fake fundraisers, forged petitions. By Monday, the neighborhood had organized an emergency meeting at the community center, where over 200 residents showed up. Mr. Jenkins presented his evidence, and Mom laid out the legal case. Karen had no authority to form an HOA, let alone collect fines. The crowd voted unanimously to dissolve her association. When Karen tried to speak, she was drowned out by chants of "Lily, Lily." She fled the meeting in tears, her clipboard abandoned on the floor. But the real justice came later. The police got involved after discovering Karen's fines were essentially extortion. She'd collected over $10,000 from intimidated neighbors, none of which went to community improvements. She was charged with fraud, and last I heard, she was selling her house to cover legal fees. The neighborhood threw a second carnival for Lily, bigger and brighter, funded by donations that poured in after the live stream went viral. Lily, now in remission, laughed as she tossed water balloons with her friends, her wheelchair decked out in streamers. The Make-A-Wish banner was replaced, this time with a new message: "Maplewood stands together." Looking back, it's hard to believe one person's ego could threaten something so pure. But it's even harder to forget how our community fought back, not just for Lily, but for what's right. Karen thought she could bully us into submission, but she underestimated the power of people united by love. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced a Karen in your neighborhood? How would you handle someone trying to ruin a moment of joy? Share your thoughts, because stories like this remind us that standing up matters.